Yeah, it's a really popular bird watching spot too. Like sometimes you'll just see people with binoculars and then you have to wonder like, are they weird or are they a bird watcher? And there's not much difference between the two. I haven't been able to walk around all of Graceland because it's such like a huge cemetery. Like there's so many places you could walk. My name is Nisha. Currently, I'm a junior anthropology major at DePaul, and I really like to talk about death and dying. There are several motivations for why I started anthropology. Part of it was boredom, part of it was like the pandemic, you know, because it felt like a lot of times people were dying like prematurely. And I feel like there's a lot of like unanswered to grief, like with the pandemic, but also with American death culture as a whole, because there are just so many topics within death that aren't really talked about super often. And I just felt like that was something that like really needs to be talked about. Like it's kind of just me and my co-host Jeffrey standing on our soapbox, like shouting to the skies, like we need to talk about this more than anything. Within families, it can be really difficult to talk about death because there's always that aspect of like, oh, we're invincible. Maybe you don't know what the person who just died wanted. You don't know maybe if they want to get embalmed or cremated, or maybe they just want a natural burial. And if you have those unanswered questions, there's like A, the money aspect, but B, there's an aspect of guilt. I think there's always an aspect of like the fear of the unknown. Like no matter what. I justify that like I shouldn't be afraid because I know I'm going to die anyways and it's inevitable and like I'll figure out what the unknown is eventually. I think being afraid of death is what really pushed me to get into death, and like whether that fear is there or not on any given day doesn't cheapen my life, I don't think. What I really like about Graceland is that it really ties nature together with death, because eventually, once you die, even if you're embalmed, even if you have the most elaborate, I don't know, preparation to like have your body around forever, it's going to decay eventually. Worms are going to be eating you eventually, like no matter what. So I think, like, A, it adds a nice space of greenery in Chicago, but B, it also kind of has that second reminder of, like, nature will take over at some point. Compassion has just been, like, really woven into the human experience as we know it now, but also, like, into the earth as a whole. Because even crows have funerals and, like, rituals for death. When I was a little kid, birds would fly into the pillars on our playground and die, and the janitors never did anything about it. Being around those kids are like, oh my God, poke it with a stick, and something about that like felt wrong from the start, you know? Like there's a level of like disrespect that I guess you like automatically associate with that response. And I guess I really internalized, how do I want to be treated when I die? How do I want people around me to be treated when they die?